Okay. All right. So we don't have people actually. We're broadcasting out, but they can't answer questions. If they need to answer questions, they can call in on it. Okay. And if you can email me to tell me that you're actually online now, then I can actually know you're online. We have 4 people online. We should have 5 or 6, we should actually have 6 people online. Okay. So we'll know who's not online. And my phone is not working. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to speak here. All the time. Well, guess what? You guys are the only guys who will be accelerated going forward who are here. All right. Now, what's actually happening? There are 2 important things that are happening this Senate. The reason why I wanted to. The first thing is that those who actually have not gotten in touch with Titan, basically you will have to have an evaluation by Titan to move forward in the program. And over the next week and the week after, we'll also have evaluation by myself on the business side and by Lorianne, and then have a proper evaluation to go forward to see where you guys are at, to see where you're beginning. Basically, I believe we will get approval. So there's 2 big things that are happening, the reason why we need it. Many things that are happening this month. The first thing is assessment review, guys. I believe we will get approval to move. I told you about resetting from April 1 to for the next 6 months to have you guys run instead of until June until September 30th for the acceleration period. And that we are trying to hold a board meeting. Was originally we were trying to hold it next week, Thursday. I think because Lorianne is in Canada next week. She's actually going to Orlando in Canada next week to do part of the accelerator caravan. She's hopping around to look at other accelerators and what they do. We'll try to hold it on Tuesday, the board meeting. At the board meeting, a whole lot of things will actually happen. I'm hoping we have it. That's the reason why I'm trying to hold it. The wire contract that's in place, still to get it approved. The approval to go ahead with all the other contracts that we actually have in terms of exchange programs. And I was just on the phone this morning at 4 a.m. So if you're on the line there, Mr. Rebel Farms, the guys in Indonesia still want you to come on over to Indonesia. They'll actually want you to come over there. And for those, I think afar for Taiwan, Taiwan is still interested in their program and how it actually works. But just remember, you guys, over there, it's an expensive place to go to these places. You're going to have to find, how much money it's going to go for a month. You have to go pay for accommodations and food for a month. But for 3 months, it's accommodations, food for 3 months. It's not cheap. Okay, they're not paying. That's the reason why you guys should have had your money and your company up and running in order to pay for all of these expenses. So they're interested in that. And then the third thing is today, Paul Alstrom is actually will be on the line. So Paul is skilled in and nailed it. He has another program that is basically it's a much more structured program to actually go through. And I want all the base of you guys actually to have it. It's very much still like the program that was done by, I'm going blank here, Steve Blank. There you go. Steve Blank program. And some of us actually were halfway, 1/3, 2 modules into the Steve Blank program. We haven't moved off of that still yet. And maybe the universe wanted us just to go to the other scale program. There will be a structured program that all you guys will have to do. Why will all you guys have to do it? Paul is going to try to put together, I say try, he said he's going to get at least 2 to 3, and I will actually try to form others who will actually get mentors, who will put together a program that will actually sponsor the team in exchange for equity for $6,000 cash. And that money will be able to you can use for your living expenses. You need the team to be working on a full-time basis here. A lot of you guys are doing other things for money while going through it. So Paul wants to have that instead of to try to do that. So in order to be eligible for those mentorships, you'll have to actually complete the course. The courses are not that difficult. It's like a 3-day 3 days of your life you'll have to spend doing the course from beginning to end if you want to actually do it. It won't be intensive to actually get to that point. The other thing that is actually happening is that I actually have to put together a business plan that I will be asking you, some of you guys to draft to see if anyone is interested in what's actually happening, and for your input, let me know out there, and I probably call all of you guys actually asking input anyway on what you think the program should be going. Right now, based on the World Bank program that was actually in place, the World Bank basically, there are a couple of things that were their objectives. One, we were supposed to have a boot camp every month. So we could have 50 people or 600 people a year. We were supposed to have 200 people every quarter, 50 people every quarter in a month-long boot camp. And then we were going to have 10 teams, so for 200 people, and we were going to have 10 teams in 2 acceleration programs. But we would have had someone, which was always 500, to mostly contribute $30,000 per team. So of all of that, I think very little of any of that with the World Bank program was designed. And that's in my business plan. I have to take that and try to reconcile and to say what we have. The final piece of all of that is actually happening for this month is that. Oh, okay, all right. The final piece of all of that is actually happening is we're having a budget. We're having a budget. Thank you. That would make sense. We're having a budget from the government coming down when tomorrow? The 13th. Tomorrow. 13th or 14th is the government budget. Who knows? Everyone keeping track? Announce it. 13th. More than likely, we're told that we will only be getting about of what was required. We'll probably get more than we got last year, but less than what we required. I've been told the number will be about 56%. So someone already knows what the number is of what we asked for. So somewhere in the 500, basically 50% what we have, and therefore we'll have to make some decisions of how we actually move forward. What will probably more than likely, some of the teams who after the evaluation we go through, we will have to make some tough decisions on some of them who've not been working towards their goals, who have not basically been working hard enough on their business. But more importantly than that, the ones that are left, we will finance those. And then for acceleration number 2, I'm not quite sure what will happen. That will be my plan. So this, so the proof will be in the pudding, and that we actually have to produce results in this acceleration in order to go forward as a program. Now, basically, is what it will come down to in the budgeting side of it. But we will know better after tomorrow or the 14th. I guess they'll bring the budget down, and then they'll send it what the exact number is on April 14th to us. So we'll actually have some idea what that is. So those are all the things that we're working on. We're working on putting on all the TORs for the bringing out all the master classes and things you're supposed to get for the business side and for the marketing side. And those will be put to the PIU this week, which means that I'll be there. So that's basically it. We have 2 speakers today. We have Wayne, who's here from Branditize. Did I say it right? Branditize, who will be talking with you guys. Does anyone have any quick updates though, just before that, of what's happening with the teams and where you guys are at?
Halloween, so the upward service is easily. So we're working with that. We're on monitoring on what still is their advertising companies that we went down. not be enough yet to finance our group. So if rather get them to build, so get them to support from the ecosystem. So if there's one and this helps. That's pretty much
Okay, any other important updates before we get to Wayne? Here, you better talk to the rest of that.
All right, so for my game development tools, I've begun validation of the entire set of game development tools. I'm waiting on feedback from the game development community on that. That's basically where I'm right now.
All right, good. Okay. Well, anyone else? Those guys online, I'm sure you'll be able to send us your updates. Without further ado, give you Dorian to introduce
Over here. Get your presentation. Everybody, you can share the screen when you're ready. You gotta share it. You're gonna go to it right now. Yeah. So when you're ready, you're gonna share screen and then the PowerPoint.
Good morning, guys. I don't need to speak to. Yeah. So my name is Wayne Marsh, founder of branditize.com. I'm going to tell you a bit more about shortly. Till I'm only down here, I was saying to myself, what am I supposed to talk about again? So, Lauren just briefed me. So I'll give you a quick background on my entrepreneur journey. Actually, I'm in the digital marketing space, selling digital marketing software. Actually started doing this around 2006. At the time, trying to sell internet marketing to most business, it was like everyone just wanted a website and just wanted something like a business card online. But in terms of software development, actually started out much further back where I actually developed a financial management software back office system. At the time, we only had 10 brokers in Jamaica. Of course, now we have many more. And actually, it was a partnership with Maybury Investments Limited. But we actually got 6 of the brokers, out of the 10 brokers, we got 6 brokers units, so we got 6% of the market. But the software died because of one main thing: we had the wrong pricing plan. Yeah, because that's key. So even though at the time, rather than in hindsight, what I should have done is say more on a subscription base, which is what everybody does now, rather than saying outright with that 18% maintenance fee. Then especially in Jamaica, the market is small, and it was much more difficult to scale globally then. So it seemed successful. The software is called Broker. Probably Kyle might remember that software. Yeah, but so we got more than half of the local market, but of course it failed in terms of not really having longevity. So actually was in corporate NCB and left, decided to start my own business, E-Business Solutions Limited. As a selling internet marketing services, pay-per-click marketing, website development, etc. But as an entrepreneur, you need recurring revenue. So rather than each time on each sale, I decided to try and develop an application, branditize, to get some recurring revenue. So I'm going to go through with you digital media marketing on a whole. But of course, as I said, when I'm done, you can shoot any questions regarding actually any from an entrepreneur standpoint. You mentioned that actually Branditize won the 2014 National Innovation Award for the software, but of course, awards don't really big sales. You still have to come and sell the product, right? So I'm gonna jump right into digital marketing, kind of, because there are 2 things I know as a business. You don't have to be the best; you just have to be the best known. So that's why marketing is so key. All right. So, anyone here doing marketing, informal marketing? Okay, right. So usually, most of us don't start digital marketing. We usually start up by executing. Most people, and this is by survey, don't really have any form of plan or strategy. It's okay, we need to start, marketing. So you go on Twitter or Facebook, etc., post some things, boost, etc. What I did was to create a software that would help you create an overall strategic plan. And we call it your POEM, your paid own earned media. Now, your marketing activities are your strategic plan. If you had one from a traditional marketing standpoint, it wouldn't be any different than what you're going to have for digitally, just that you have more channels. So paid marketing is not new. People always pay to advertise on TV, print, radio, but now you have more channels in terms of paid advertising, Google, Bing, wherever side. Owned, you always own some business. So you put up a banner outside, you might brand your t-shirt, oh, I own this shirt, it's his own marketing. But of course, you have more own channels, your social media channels, your website, etc. And of course, earned media, in the past, you have more control over that because you'd use, through press release, etc., you'd use the media to kind of earn, quote unquote, media. So, in fact, there's a lot of, most of the newspapers, more than 6% of the content you see in newspaper actually come from corporate. They're the one feeding the newspaper and feeding the content, of course, to earn some media. But today, I might have a Twitter account with 10,000 followers, and of course, if I comment, I would earn some media. Now, in terms of what I call elusive reach, anybody in marketing knows that if you have a Facebook page, if you have 10,000 fans, or let's use the smaller numbers to help my math. If you have 1,000 fans and you do a post today, you're probably reaching 40 organically, meaning that without paying for it. Because what those guys are doing, they want to get more money. Facebook isn't busy making money. So they're constantly reducing their reach. That is, no matter how many fans they have, then be reaching less people because they want to pay for you to promote that post. And that's happening across all the channels. So in terms of your own content, when you post on your channels, the reach will be the lowest, of course, you have most control. You can pay, of course, promote the post, put a PPC ad, put up banners, etc. But of course, the more you pay, the higher the reach can be, if all things being equal. Earned is where you can get the most organic reach. For example, how many people watch Magnum Kings and Queens? You watch it? No, right, exactly. Because you want to go viral. So as long as if you create enough, if you create engaging content, listen, no PR is bad PR, right? But you will earn. You can being viral is where you get that overall reach. So within your poem strategy and all your activity, you should be looking to see how you can balance all your channels, your paid channel, your own channels, and your earned channels, in a way that will help you to achieve that goal you're trying to do. Now, the thing is that most people, at least I know a lot of brands, big brands, small brands, they treat digital media marketing as only social media marketing. And then secondly, they treat that as an end game. It's like it's a popularity contest. Like most of the reports, there was, okay, how many fans I have? Look at the what they call vanity metrics, how many fans they have, how many followers, etc. But that's not the end game. You're not really trying to get fans, you're trying to get sales, you're trying to get leads. So within your overall strategic plan and whatever channel you choose to focus on, you should have some goal, whether based on the goal. If it's just brand awareness, then social media will help you a lot. But usually you're not just out there to be popular as a business. You're really trying to get leads. So you should have some landing page or somewhere that you're gonna have someone come and do something. At least even a email address. It's like running an ad campaign and people just want to without even asking anything. You should always try to capture something, have a way to capture that information within the overall strategic plan you have. So I'm going to go to each of them quickly and just define all three components of your media strategy. So course, paid, you know what that is, yeah? Content distributed by a paid source. So you have display ads, which you like, for example, Observer. Everybody know about Google AdSense, right? Right. So Observer actually participate both in Google AdSense and banner ads. If sometimes you look at the top of the page of the Observer site, you might say ad and that's a banner ads on Google AdSense. And in fact, some of those guys are paying for it. They're paying more advertising that way than if they went through Google AdWords. But I guess, you know, they do what I think is best for them. You have social ads, and of course, you have paid influencers. Paid influencers, I see we're corporate using that a lot. No, you find more like the party scene. Like someone might have a big following, and someone on a party and say, "Hey, promote this for me and pay them." I mean, that works because at the end of the day, you want reach as long as the demographic of that person, that influencer, is within the market you're trying to reach. Then use them. So you pay, you get immediacy, mean happen now as long as your credit card don't decline. You get scale and you have some control. Of course, less and less people are clicking on these ads. They have declining clicking rates. As you see, it's always been that with like for example PPC ads, you know, when you're searching Google and you see the ads come up, like around 10% of the person that click on those ads, and 70% click on what we call the organic results, which is the regular ads, regular content that come up. With paid and with all your channel, you have to focus on what you're trying to achieve. What are your goals? You know, say aim at nothing, keep with amazing accuracy. So figure out what you're aiming at. So you usually in the brand awareness category and or lead generation, and whichever it is, you should decide what it is. When you put that campaign and you get the traffic, you know, have some call to action forms, when it's, you know, phone number, click to call, something, email address, and determine what kind of content type, which of course will determine the channels you'll be using. And to help you a bit, you can do all this manually, as what I mean a PPC, that way social ad, or you can use some tool that will help you. Especially with PPC, there are many tools out there. Nobody use well, I guess anybody in PPC, nobody? Pay-per-click advertising? No? Okay. Well, pardon me? Okay. Pay-per-click, right? Which is, so, if, what do you, right. Okay, yeah, pay-per-click advertising, right? So, which is very effective with a numbers game, because if you spend assuming $1 per click, you get 1,000 clicks. The average click-through rate is around 2%, right? So based on the 2% coming to your side, how many of those that actually convert into customer? And based on the number, it's add up in terms of the end sale price, the large key measuring what you're doing. From channels for paid, as I said, most people use Google. A lot of people ignore Bing and Yahoo because, you know, say, okay, why use Bing and Yahoo? But Bing actually how many people have a Yahoo account? Yahoo. Nobody use Yahoo email? Yeah, you see, some people do use Yahoo email. And so those persons will be served ads. Pardon me? Okay. If people, that's the thing. So that, again, you have to measure to see what works. So the cost per click in Bing is way cheaper than the cost per click in Google AdWords. But of course, you're going to have a lower reach because less people use those networks. But not that it's obsolete or useless, depending on who you're targeting. And especially from a global perspective, whether it's local or global, you can determine where. Of course, you know, the display ads in terms of the social media and the other channels. But another underutilized paid channel that I realize brands don't use is the content discovery channel. I'll tell you what that is. So let's use that website like CNN. Most people go on CNN, right? or even right? Well, at the bottom, you might see comments and you see discuss. You notice that? And then you see from around the web, like they say, like with beside the comments, you might see other stories. That's actually content discovery channels. What I was doing that you may have a great article on your own website, right? A blog or some case or something. But of course, you're not getting traffic to your website because no one is finding you. And so it's probably not proper search engine optimization. But you can pay to get that additional reach. And some like Outbrain or Taboola, these are some examples. Discuss these websites. You sign up with them. So they have advertisers and publishers. So you'd be a publisher. So you would sign up with them and then you submit your content and then they would put it on these other popular websites. So you get that increased reach. Right, right. Right, right, right. So there are content discovery network, just like Outbrain.com and Taboola. And if you just search for that, and you find other options. So that's one way of getting your paid, you're getting your own content to increase reach through paying for that. So it's not just ads and banners and YouTube videos that you can actually promote. And of course, press release. So when I was launching e-business solutions Limited at the time, I had no access to the media or know anybody. I went on PRWeb and I did a press release, launched it. I think I launched it, I did it on a Sunday, I paid $40. And then Tuesday morning, the Gleaner called me and they did an interview and they ran the article and the story in the Gleaner. And that was our first ever media presence. And so what that is, I mean, you can do a press release for anything, a new product, whatever it is. But the media is always searching for content. And of course, you may not have any influence or connection with the media to say, hey, run this at some of these big companies. Or using these media to make your story sound engaging enough and interesting enough, someone might pick it up. And you get that additional reach and legitimacy. Because that's the thing too. Social media, it's easy to get the reach and some awareness. Social media still has legitimacy. Because if you do something online and someone sees on TV or sees the newspaper, it helps in terms of credibility. Yeah, these are some like PRWeb that I use, right? Yes, because right. By the way? Yes. So these press release websites, paid press release websites, you can sign up easy, one account with them, and you get the more reach you receive. So no, they're all right. In fact, I should tell you this. So, for example, let's say I'm assuming each of your subject matter. The website called helpoutareporter.com, right? Helpoutareporter.com. Just search for that. I think it's RHRO. But what I do, you can register. Go outside, register in your subject matter area of expertise. And from time to time, they will send out emails to say, hey, this newspaper or this radio station needs someone expert to talk about this. Submit to say why they're expert, and you get the exposure. So that's just that's a free way of getting one of course the paid way through these press releases. Right. So okay. So this is also show an example of this is PPC where you normally have that yellow bar there, show ad. It usually comes at the top. And of course, in terms of what determines versus first, second, and third, usually is the price you pay per click. But most of these networks have an algorithm that determines who is making more money for the network. For example, with Google, if I have an ad that I'm willing to pay $2 a click for, and you have one you're paying $1 a click, but you are receiving more clicks than I like. You get 100 clicks, I'm going to get in 10. You are still making more money for the network than I am. So yours just come higher on mine, even though so the quality score is important. What they call the quality score. So not only price, not only clicks also, but in terms of the content. For example, if you have a PPC ad and it's going to a landing page that is not responsive, you get your score goes down for that. So all those things the algorithm factor in to determine which sites to go higher, which results go higher. And of course, the display ads. So in terms of getting your brand, display ads are a very quick way where you get a lot of impressions, not necessarily a lot of clicks, because with those ads, people will just come across you when they're on another site. Ads, you get lower reach but higher click through because people buying with a searching for them. So you're searching for flat screen 60. Your ad matches those keywords, it will come up. The price is really not, it's universal, not geo-targeted. What you can do based on for Jamaica, you probably put Jamaica in the keyword and then that will reduce the price. So the general is less competition the price has, the lower it will be. In terms of prices can be like less than $1 a click. You can get a lot of prices than $1 a click in the US. Yeah. No, a lot of them. I mean, 50. Okay, let's say for example, we start using tourism is kind of more expensive because you compete with TripAdvisor. Even with Jamaica, you compete with other guys. But with in the social media, it's very low, like 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, 30 cents, depending. So everything you can get very low pay per click keyword prices based on the keyword that you choose.
Real estate.
Pardon me? Yeah, but what you could do if you're on a low budget, what you can go for what I call a long tail, meaning that rather than real estate in Jamaica, right? The more specific you go, the less competition that will be, and of course less cake, but the lower the price. Well, depends. The keyword will definitely two things. After the keyword research ad that you put up. So let's say if your ad actually says free website development, then you risk the quality because it's not really free. If you just link bait in, then you're gonna waste a lot of clicks in that way. So both the keywords and the actual ad itself. For your own channels, which is what most people spend time on, which that is where you have your Facebook page, you have your various accounts, and you put content out there, right? That first step is where content distributed by a brand, which is you. Of course, as I mentioned, all those channels. Benefits that you have more control, is cost effective to some extent, and it lasts a long time. The key though, one of the biggest mistakes people make, as I said, with their own channel, they ignore the website. They will update the Facebook page and the Twitter accounts much more often than update the website. And the reason is because content out there for your website. I'll get into how you can get some putting out content, some chips. And of course, as I said, with the declining reach, you're gonna have to pay unless of course you can put it. They get it engagement to get it viral. Someone who want to share it. Make it. Even with putting out your own content, you have to focus on your what I call it personas, meaning that who is the demographic you're trying to reach, what's the age group, what's the education level. Those things will determine whether am I going to be on LinkedIn, am I going to be on Instagram, am I going to be doing a blog. Because if you have a product that's kind of people that don't like to read, don't make sense to be writing stuff. You're best you're putting more, text, image, videos, etc. So you have to know who you're talking to. And at the end of the day, each time you put on a piece of content, you have to say, okay, what do I want to leave this person with? What's the message? Not just putting up, picture your cat or your lunch and stuff like that. Give them a real kind of content. The metrics from our own content perspective, as I said, is reach, who you're reaching, how engaging your content is, and of course the community side to some extent. Because as I said, with your point, which is the convergent media strategy, if you decide that you're gonna create content for your own channels, but you're gonna pay to promote it, then you could have one follower, it doesn't matter, because you're gonna pay to promote it. So as long as you pay, you get the reach you want until over time, you build up enough organic reach. If you decide that initially, let's say for this quarter, this first 6 months, you're gonna take a paid strategy approach. You don't care, right? Because whether or not, rather than trying to spend money to get people following you, because you could, even Facebook, let's say you could run a campaign to get more likes, right? Or you could run a campaign to get more reach of your content. So if you decide that you want to get the content out there, you forget about likes. Just focus on promoting your content to get more reach. The gravy is that people will see and like your page as gravy, but at least getting the reach. And you're getting the kind of engagement, and you can measure how your content is doing. And refine it accordingly. So the common channels, as I say, your website, blog, etc. But another area that goes untouched to getting own content is from employees, right? Especially in large organizations, you have some employees that have a much bigger fund than even the CEO. But it's difficult to harness the contribution from those persons. But you have software that does that. That's employee advocacy software, right? Like everyone's social dynamics signals. These are some examples of software. But these software, what they do is that they allow employees to submit content for the branch channel, for the corporate channel, for the branch channel, and it can be managed easily and controlled. So we might find, and they will also share it on their own timeline. So they are helping to build the corporate brand. And of course, some of these programs have set up with incentivize you to do that also. So of course you can do it manually, if you want to pay for this, but the key is that to try use, and the startup team might not be as big, but as best as possible to get all players, friends and family, their party team to contribute, because if they have a large enough network, and of course, as long as they match your persona you're trying to reach, then use it. For your content strategy now, for your own content strategy, the key is to ensure that, I think I said is what I'll say from now. There are three basic ways to get content. You can either aggregate content, which is the most common way that people get content. That is just retweet stuff or repost stuff. You can curate content, which is finding some piece of content and customize it to your, add something else to it. Or you can create content, which is doing everything from scratch, right? So the key is always create something like a how to gather best practice, and that piece of content that you create, that you put on your own website, that can last you probably for a month at least. So you can take out different tips and tweet and post and the text and image, everything around driving back people to your website, because hopefully on that page you'd also have some call to action like a sign up form or something to capture the lead. So the key is, as I said, ensure that whatever format it is that you're able to put into based on the person is always creating content. So if you only can afford to do one, ideally everybody was about blog at least once a week. We might end up blogging once a month, but at least you'd have the content there. You guys use Alexa.com, right? So this is from Alexa.com that kind of gave you an idea of which are the most popular channels or social media channels accessed from Jamaica. The numbers, well, no, this is free, Alexa.com. Yeah, you can be by country, right? And it can be by country. Now, what is always interesting is that the traditional sites like Jamaica, Observer, they're, for example, Twitter is higher ranked than Gleaner. Jamaica Observers number 10. Green has failed recently, especially since they start limiting people's access. So, right. But these, like for example, Instagram and especially Instagram, that rank people high. The number to the left is a social rank from a social media standpoint, social media channel. The number in the bracket is the rank from overall, like the 18th most popular website access from Jamaica, in this case for Instagram. But the number higher, because this is from the website, not from the app. So if you're to quote the app, it will be much higher with these. But the number 10, I find a lot of people don't not familiar with this website or use it and don't realize, which is SlideShare. Everybody use SlideShare? Right. So a lot of people use it and don't even realize they use it. But like this is a presentation here. So you do a presentation, you put it on SlideShare, and you do research to find it. Okay. Oh, 10 minutes. Okay, so let me jump to the app. All right. Pardon me? Oh. So, right. Yeah, I'll send it to you, right. The last one was earn media is where we as I mentioned before, we try to get the community to share, engage their posts, right? There are many ways to do that. Um, one is by sharing great content. One way is being funny, which is risky. Um, pardon me? Funny, humor. So Branitize is, let me go. So I'm gonna jump into Branitize I'm segueing from Earn Media. So one of the Branitize a suite of two. We have 4 tools in the suite. And one of the tools is a social media wall, which helps you to earn media, like using events. So like if you have an events, you can use a crowd at the event to become a brand advocate. So I'm gonna give an example. Branitize.com /TV. Okay, this was last week. JCS. What's that conference? JCS Mingle. MINGLE. Right. So what it does is from social media, in this case, Twitter and Instagram. So if you have an event, then said if the person posts using a particular hashtag, in this case, JCS Mingle on Twitter, Instagram, the post will come up on the social media wall. So we have like a big screen at the event. Actually, there's a sorry. JCS, sorry. Right, it shows exactly. So I want to show the Jamaica yellow pages. So what happens is that you may have, for example, on Instagram, but for Twitter, it was like 47. The reach, 10 and the was much higher. For the Jamaica YP that conference, there are 20 people in the venue. The online reach on Twitter was like 97,000 something, and on Instagram was ended up getting like in fact on that day that the event kept, 3 hashtags were trending: prosperity, Gale, and JCS, Jamaica JYP DigiCon, because um because the people just like we're all narcissistic like this, so like the same self-response. People are posting themselves, but what they're really doing is promoting the event, promoting the brand online. That's one engagement tool. Password. Yes, yes, as you post, it's live. So, no, no, they could see it. They could see it. They would see it. So just like on the screen, had a big screen up, and so it would and it randomly cycle through each. So they would see it. Right, right. Well, it would use that like signal and also the signal at the finish start line, the big wall, and people are posting. If you have 10,000 followers, you have 100. It calculates the reach based on both of you. It's a reach. That's a reach. Potential reach. Right, right. It would have reach. Yeah, yeah. Right. Just like in the newspaper, reach you don't. You know that circulation is X, but how many people actually saw it. Right. So it's equal across the board. Okay. Well, that's what tend to happen. People say, "Hey, that's so and so," and so people get engaged. It's engaging, and of course, it allows on the right side there is space for ads. So the tool offers the ability for first to use this at events and also class ads. Me for events, but also I'm looking to use it all like in businesses, so they use it in their actual stores or location. So it's price based on the main factor is the number of feeds. So like I have three packages. So let's say you might have the lowest package might allow you 250 feeds up to 2,000, 3,000 feeds. And price again. Each post, yes, yes. Because the more posts you have, the more potential reach you get in. So you're really paying for that. And of course, there are other features like how many ads you can have and the kind of, there's a back end to it. There's a monitoring tool to the back end in terms of filtering because you don't want someone to post anything inappropriate or also to, um, to hijack your page, like a competitor posting stuff. All right, so I'm logging in with my very long and hard to remember password. I click login in. I'm actually back end to monetize. I'll change again. It's insecurity. White hacking. I don't know why I call it white. Why is it taking so long to log in? Did I just yeah. All right, while it's let me just quickly run through. So as I mentioned, the four tools. So the first tool is a strategy tool. What that helps you do is okay. This one is to go. What it helps you do is the software will have a seven-step approach where the monetize comes with some metadata in terms of helping to figure out what your goals are, what are the KPIs, key performance indicators you need to measure to ensure you're achieving each goal, defining your personas in terms of focus on psychographic and the demographic profile of each to figure out what content you be giving to them. Okay, so sticking on. Figuring out your content plan all the way down to having a content calendar where you can figure out, okay, what content we're posting for different periods based on the message categories you have created going through the steps. And at the end of that, of course, as a system suggests this information. Strategic plan. Okay, put him on the spot. I'll you spoil that. I'll spoil that the Wi-Fi. Okay. But we can't talk about it. Okay.
Because we have a 12 o'clock speaker.
Okay.
Who's acting himself also to be able to stay and then perhaps.
Okay, I'll try. Yeah, get back to.
We'll get back to them.
Okay.
No, to the Google Hangout. Oh yeah.
Right.
Are you sending yourself where?
Hey guys. Okay, sorry. Because we have people on, right? So everyone, Wayne is gonna come back a little later to showcase his tool. Our next guest speaker. So if you give me a few minutes, I'll get him on. Guys, I was waiting for Paul Alstrom to join us. So again, just be patient, give us a few minutes. He should be jumping on the call in a few.
In the next, as I said, within the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, we'll actually get a open equivalent and a methodology of moving forward quicker than we have before. And I think a lot of it was my fault, actually, me and myself, for not actually recognizing that when you deal with government, you have to have a plan, a big plan with about 100 pages of documents, and that's a monthly report has to be. And then out of those 100 pages, then you actually get all kinds of things that actually move forward for people to understand what you do. Otherwise than that, they haven't been able to. I mean, I'm not sure if that would have made a difference, but I think going forward with the board, the new government is actually really trying to put together the finish our registration and putting together the board to move forward. And we're going to have a meeting before the board is done, because we know that sometimes all the best laid plans don't go forward. So the board, we're going to actually start to move forward, and then we'll actually have an actual board to make things different. So other way, but there you can get a good group of what you want. Done and move forward. Okay. So now it says we have another contract coming up that we're going to have to go through. So some of you guys may still be interested with Dev Labs, we have the wire ops, we have all the other foreign ones. Plus we have all the KRs that we're extending. And still then be moving forward with that. Okay. And then we have Paul also in addition to that, whatever he comes up with. And we've started also, I started the mentor program that we probably have about, for about 24 to 30 already. So at the end of May, that will be, we should be able to implement something to that point in time. Pardon? Mentor, yeah. A lot of programs globally only have mentors, basically, to work with. And so to the extent we're not quite sure if that will work. That's something I'm going to put out there, just to let you guys know what kind of mentors and mentorships that we're actually trying to bring forward. You want me to give up
Yeah.
the call?
Send the email as well.
His office, his mobile. Person I'm calling is unavailable. Does that mean that? Does that mean that? Does that mean that digital? Okay, there you go. That means that digital is not getting. Okay. Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
Hey, Mark. Great, thank you.
Wow. Oh, we're on there. Okay, just so you know, we're on.
Hi, guys.
All right. We have. I think we have a whole bunch of other people online too, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. So, so here with me is William Standish. Hey, William.
Hi, everybody.
So, go ahead and mute everything. Mute your camera.
I think I'm all off.
I see right there. The camera's
I see.
Alrighty. So you may have to jump off if you can't mute everything.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Can you see me?
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Paul, we're gonna mute so we don't get the feedback every time when you're speaking. So we're here and we can hear you unless we actually talk. All right.
I think
we're gonna go on.
There's no feedback right now, so if you want to leave it like that, you can. William, the feedback came from William, so he just logged in. He's watching it from his computer, so he's just sitting across the table from me. So, hey, Mark, take it off of mute for a second.
Okay. Well, we'll try, Paul.
If it's a problem, then go ahead. Do you find that you have a feedback problem?
Yeah, we have a feedback problem. Generally, we just put it on mute, and normally we can hear, and if we need to, we'll just put it back on the mic. Okay. But you'll see people either if they're sleeping, that means that they're not listening, but they're okay. All right.
Why don't you leave it off of mute until we have the feedback problem? if we have it, then just go ahead and just put it on. All right. I'll let you know.
Well, we're getting breaking. It's breaking up here on our side, Paul. So we're just gonna put it on mute. We've gone through this.
Okay, I get it. I get it. So your speakers are feeding back into your side. Got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Before you do that, then let me kind of walk through what we're going to talk about today. And how long do we have?
No, Paul, I'm on mute. You actually, we can hear you. Okay, so just go ahead.
But the question I have is
how long we have? We have now about 55 minutes. So we're good.
All right. So in the 55 minutes, we're going to go through an overview. By the way, nice to meet you guys. I've been to Startup Jamaica a couple of times, but it's been a while, and it was a previous cohort. So I'm excited to be back with you again. I'm calling you from Salt Lake City, Utah. And but behind me is Monterrey, Mexico. Our fund invests in Latin America, so we put money into early stage tech startups throughout the Americas: Silicon Valley, U.S., Mexico. We have companies from Colombia, Peru, Argentina, and we've been invited to help kind of create the venture capital industry in various countries throughout Latin America. So,
Hi, Paul.
hello.
Sorry. Hey, Paul, you're actually breaking up quite a bit. I wonder if you could try hanging up or coming back to the call to see if we get a better connection.
So are you going to log out and I'll log out?
Yeah, if you log out and then try hitting back the link again and see if you get a better connection.
Let me try an earpiece, see if this works.
Oh, well, you're sounding better now. So maybe we should just continue.
How about this? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, so we'll try this, and I'll be glad. I have a 100 megabit connection, so I'll be glad to zoom in and out if that's the case.
And Paul, just so you know, we had 100% attendance here at the BPJ Venture Capital Conference for your speech there. So we all are very familiar with what you spoke about there. Okay. All right. That just gives you some of our audience. Thanks.
All righty. So then, for how many, by show of hands, how many people have gone and filled out? Can you put the camera down a little bit because it's kind of shooting up? So I'm getting the tops of people's heads. There we go. By show of hands, how many people have filled out the big idea canvas? All right. So I guess my speech wasn't very effective. So 2, yeah. All right. 3. So then I'm gonna although you saw the speech, I'm gonna go back in a little bit, and I'm gonna sell you guys on the concept of the big idea canvas because it's really the first step of the startup process. And as you know, there's multiple hypotheses you're going to be generating in your startup process. And as an investor, I've invested in over 125 companies. I've invested, over $500 million into early stage companies. And every time I do a startup, I will go back multiple times in the process and ask the team, the startups, to check their assumptions against the canvas. And as opposed to just kind of a blank canvas, it's a tool to kind of help you ask some questions and kind of expand your thinking a little bit. So it's a tool designed for entrepreneurs that are learning while we're doing. And I personally have, as you know, I don't know if you remember my experience, but I've launched multiple companies myself. And although I know better, there's something that's just wired in my brain that I revert to thinking small. And so I've created tools for myself and my other entrepreneurs that I work with to kind of help check the thinking, get the hypothesis in place, and so we're taking this to the next level. So let me spend a few minutes doing a refresher. Then we'll jump into the canvas itself, and then we'll jump into the class. Does that sound okay? Give me a thumbs up if that's cool. All right. So screen share, control room. All right, so let's do the screen share entire screen. Okay. All right, so William, you monitor the class, and if you guys, can you see the class on your screen, or is it just my full screen?
I can just see your full screen.
Um,
The presentation. But I can get onto something else if you want me to.
Yeah, alrighty. So, unfortunately, I can't see the way I'm showing it right now. There's no screen for me to see the class, the classroom. So, I'm just going to go through very quickly and kind of give an overview of the concept of thinking big. All right, good. And I can see your class now. So, if you guys want to stop the presentation for any reason, go ahead and just wave, and William's monitoring the classroom. And so we can stop it and move on, or if anybody has a question, we'll stop at any time. Okay, good, A-okay. And so if you remember, every year since I've been a kid, I have done a startup. From a lemonade stand to a skateboard making business where I made a skateboard and the guys down the street took it to their big brothers who didn't think it was cool enough and came and asked for the money back. And window washing businesses to lawn mowing, landscaping businesses, pool service company, started a newspaper in college, started a dance club, and rented out this building on a nightly basis, created a nonprofit in the United States to hire the homeless. I created a jazz club dinner theater. And this is the picture of my club called the Backstage Cafe, and it was a student hangout. It was a lot of fun. Did a recycling company, and then I was on my 11th company when somebody asked me the question: you have 24 hours in the day. You can spend your time digging ditches or building rocket ships. Wouldn't it be more interesting to go to the moon? And I said, what do you mean? Well, you're thinking small. You have the same amount of time in the day as everybody else is given, but what you're doing is never going to take you to where you want to go. And up until that point, nobody had ever introduced me to this idea, and I never felt like I had permission to think big. And so, in a weird sense, this guy gave me permission to think big for the first time in my life. So I'm giving you guys all permission to think big. And at any point in the process, if you don't think this idea is going to take you where you need to go, you have permission to do what I did, which is the day I heard this, I immediately handed the keys to the business over to my dad and my little brother. I said, if you guys want this, it's all yours. I'm done. And that very next day, I went back to college, and I started working on my next company, which was a software company. And it didn't work out, so I went and worked for somebody else's company, and then I launched my own software company. And it took me a few years to get there. But the Knowledge company made me a millionaire, and I was in my early 30s by the time I exited this company. So I was, and I felt like I had, a lot of education, but I had wasted 2 decades of my life working on smallish ideas. I had a lot of fun. It was great, but in terms of moving me forward on my career, it was not getting me there. Since those days, I've raised 8 venture funds, $1 billion, and I've launched 125 significant-sized companies. Our current strategy is we are looking for entrepreneurs that want to build companies that can launch throughout the Americas. So if you're going to approach me as an investor, then I'm looking for companies that could go from the Caribbean to the rest of Latin America, or something we could launch in the United States and then head down to other markets throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. And we have actively been investing on this strategy, and we have offices for our fund in Silicon Valley, in Utah, Mexico City, Monterrey, Mexico, Lima, Peru, Santiago, Chile, and Buenos Aires. We've been invited to create a fund in the Caribbean, and we may do that someday. My entire career has been focused on helping you or me, or guys that look like us, improve the odds of getting it right. And as you've heard many, many times, the chances that we're going to get it right are not good. So the tools I'm going to teach you today are not a panacea. They're not going to guarantee that this is going to be absolute success. But what they will do is they're going to dramatically increase the chances of getting it right. I have used these tools to develop my own startup and have taken it from concept all the way through a liquidity event. And I've done it many, many times now. Then as an investor, I've mentored many, many companies. And I realized that the guys that had not followed these processes were failing. And it really didn't matter how much money I gave them. In fact, the more money I gave the companies, the higher the probability of failure if I gave it to them before they nailed their value exchange, the breakthrough value proposition. And the reason is, once we get money, we lock into whatever we're doing at that point. If I were to give you $1 million US as a 16-year-old teenager in Jamaica, I probably just ruined your life, because you're going to be on a trajectory that is based on whatever you're doing at that 16-year-old, and you're not going to listen to your parents anymore or anybody else. You're just going to just go. Well, that's what happens to entrepreneurs. They're on a certain trajectory, and then they get money, and then they quit listening. And this isn't a theory, this is a fact. And I have validated this over 100 times. And I do it, everybody does it. And so the whole purpose of being in an accelerator is to get your butt on a trajectory that's going to get you to the right location. And as soon as you're there, it's magic. Money doesn't show up, but it's so much easier to raise money once you've hit that right trajectory, because people can't wait to give you that dollar to see where you're going to go. And you think differently. You think about choosing an investor who will help you get to where you need to go, and you're making a quality invitation to an investor, and you're doing them a favor by letting them into your deal. And if you feel like you are, the investor is doing you a favor, then you haven't nailed it yet. I've sold a lot of companies, and I've taken a lot of companies public, and every time I've sold a company or I just want to share something. This is just a small subset. Every time I've sold a company, I have planted the seeds of that exit, that sale of that company very early in the process. And so we'll talk about that towards the end of the class. So the whole principle behind Nail It and Scale It is that entrepreneurs misprioritize their daily activities. We can take out the deal killer risks and the demands, I'll leave it, early in the process. And so the class is designed to help you take out your deal killer risks early and avoid the #1 cause of startup failure. And this might seem a long ways away from what you're doing, but you are in the best possible seat. Increase the chances of success right now, because you can iterate and change your value exchange over and over in the early phases, and avoid the premature scaling problems, which is start building your product before you understand the pain. Write your marketing materials before you understand what the solution is, or you build your product before you build your beta. You build your beta before you build your prototype, and you build your prototype before you build your virtual prototype, and you build your virtual prototype before you identify the minimum feature set. And so there's an order and a process to getting it right. And I have been in the trenches. I have done this myself, sitting in your seat, and I've gone end to end multiple times now. And then I've done it on the other side as an investor. So what we've built is a course to help you guys dramatically increase the chance of getting it right, but also realizing that I do not like school. It took me it took me a long time to get through school, and so I love learning on the job, and so the course is designed for you to take an idea and go and start pushing it into the process, and then iterating as you go. I know you've seen this many times before. You've gone through probably the Steve Blank course and other ideas. The co-author of my book, Nail It and Scale It, is Dr. Nathan Furr. He was a collaborator with Steve Blank and lived in Silicon Valley. And so these ideas were born around the same time. I was doing this about 10 years before those guys wrote their books. And my book came out about 2 years before the Lean Startup came out. So how did I do that? I was just watching the patterns of success that great entrepreneurs have. And as a product manager, I built many companies as a product manager, and the waterfall process that I went through as a product manager, people were taking into the startup world. And that process works great if you're an existing company, a large company, with an existing problem, a known customer, and it works fine for that. And so if you're going to be doing incremental innovation, or as Clayton Christensen says, sustaining innovation, then this works fine. On a new company, a new startup, this actually does not work very well. So it's the broken model where I wake up in the middle of the night with an idea. I go to my friends and family and say, what do you think? And they all give me some nice reinforcement. Oh, that's a great idea. Then I start building it. Then I have this escalation of commitment. And as I start building it, I get this reinforcement and raising some money around it. And the reality is, I don't have the truth until I get to the customer. And so the whole model around Nail It and Scale It is bringing your customer up front in the startup process. Now, I understand that this is really uncomfortable for many people. It's uncomfortable for me. It's more comfortable to sit in our building and iterate. And I know some of you, Mark has told me some great things about you guys, that you've gotten into the field to start having conversations. Now, some of those conversations might not have gone well. And so what I'm going to help you do today is figure out how to ask the right questions in the right order, and then get to a point where you are comfortable taking that hypothesis and then getting it out into the field. So when you start the process, where is this going to take you? And that first journey, that first step in that journey is really important. And ask yourself at the end of as you create this hypothesis, to say, is this the idea that I want to be spending the next 3 to 5 years of my life working on? And the answer is no. Let's go find a better one. All right, so the bigideacanvas.com is the website. We're doing different competitions. This is the Utah Product Management Association competition, but we do a lot of sub-competitions. So I'm going to ask each of you, if you have your laptops in front of you, to go to the Canvas. And if you haven't downloaded the Canvas, download the Canvas. But let's jump into this right now. And I'm going to jump over to my browser and just kind of walk you through the process. Okay, so step 1, go to bigideacanvas.com. 2, you have 2 versions here. You can click on download the PDF or work online. So I'm going to click on work on online. And what it does is it creates an interactive wizard that will walk you through all of the questions. So here is one that I filled out previously. This is not a real company. I'll show you a real company in a second. But I had an idea for the paranoid international traveler that is nervous to travel in South America and the Caribbean because of the Zika virus. And so I listed their their fear of traveling, which is killing the hotels in some parts of Mexico. The big resorts are getting hammered because their fear of getting sick. And so, how big is the pain? So as kind of a joke, I clicked, that's a mosquito bite of a pain, right? But it's probably a much bigger pain than that. It's probably more like a dog bite or a shark bite, depending on who you are. If you're the traveler, you're nervous about this. If you're the hotel, it's a huge issue for you. How often am I feeling this pain? If I'm traveling, I might get mosquito bites multiple times a day. And as you go through the canvas, you're answering the questions of the canvas. So the first section, you're identifying the monetizable pain statement. And let me go back to that for a second. At the end, you're coming up with a pain score. And so you multiply 5 and 6 together, and it generates a pain score. It's a pain score of 20. One of the important things to learn here is that the level of the pain is important, but what's more important is the frequency of the pain. You will not learn this in any class, in any book, at any university. But it's one of the most important things in terms of selling your company. When Google buys a company, they buy companies that look like toothbrushes. They use them 2 times a day or more. And if you don't have high frequency of usage, then you have a problem if you have a consumer startup. So if it's a business to business, it's a different question. But on a consumer startup, you've got to have frequency more than once a day. And we're going to add another button to the canvas to say multiple times a day, because 2 or more. And probably one of the most important questions. And so let me show you a funny story from my past. And this is a smoke mask, different types of smoke masks. My brother-in-law was invested $5,000 into to buy a franchise of a company called the Jalisco Smoke Mask. It looked like this mask on the left. And I said, well, tell me about this thing. He said, well, if you get stuck in a fire, like you're in a hotel, you can pull out your smoke mask and you can get out of the hotel safely. And at the time, it sounded totally reasonable to me, right? Oh man, that's a shark bite of a pain, right? Dying in a fire, that doesn't get any worse than that. The question I forgot to ask him was, how often does this really happen to anybody? And the answer is almost never, right? When I asked the question at the conference, one person raised their hand that they had been caught in a fire, and the rest of the conference was like 0. So on the frequency, it's almost never. So if you're going to, it looks important, right? But if I'm a fireman, I'm going to be going into the fire every week, so this is life-saving. But a homeowner, I'm not going to be yanking this thing around with me and putting it in my suitcase on the off chance there might be a fire someday. So, did I lose the sound, guys?
Sorry, Paul. It's just that we're having a difficulty hearing you. So I was trying to see if it's our internet connection. But please continue.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Did the sound come back? All right. Thank you. All right. So tilt it down just a little more. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So pain score. Next question. Okay. Next question. What's the potential of the marketplace? And what might not be obvious here, I'm going to teach you the most important concept on this particular section. It is not the current size of the market that we care about. What we're looking for is sufficiently large, potentially large, rapidly growing marketplace. When Uber started, there was no market. When Airbnb started, you remember that picture? I'll show you the picture. So when Airbnb started, there was no market in the world to let this guy rent your couch at your house. Nobody wanted that, right? So the market size was 0. And when you asked a normal person, do you want, I got this great idea, why don't you let this guy rent your couch? The answer was no way. So the question you're answering here has to be around market potential. Are you going to let somebody in the future, assuming magic happens and you trust this guy, you're going to let this guy rent your couch? So, so the potential of the market right here is the most important here. What's the potential of the market? So you ask a few questions, and we're going to help you, maybe add some wizards here to the side. The investors are looking for large addressable markets. In terms of the type of investor you're going to, this has a huge impact. If this is a small market under 100 million in size, then you cannot raise money from a venture capital fund. Your money you're going to raise is from an angel investor. Just know that. If it's north of $100 million in market size potential, then you have the chance of raising money from a venture investor. If it's a potential billion or more, you have a higher probability of raising money from a venture investor. So how you answer that question needs to be honest, but it also, remember, you're not going to be raising money. This affects who you can raise money from once you leave the accelerator. All right, so next section. Well, there we go. What is the solution for the pain? This is where you come up with the name of it. So I'm calling my solution Zika Juice. And it's an over-the-counter product targeted, and maybe just an existing mosquito repellent that I rebrand as extra effective against Zika virus carrying mosquitoes. So because of that, it's not really that different, but I have different types of innovation. Like I have marketing innovation because I rebranded it. I might have a new distribution channel, and I might go through hotels to sell it. And so why do I ask about the question of innovation? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can still hear me.
Sorry, Paul, sorry. I'm going to have to switch our internet source. So I'm going to have to start this.
That's fine. Okay, we'll restart. I'll restart also. Yeah, hang on. I'm going to do a speed test.
I'm going to stop.
Okay. My upload speeds are 20, my download are 115, but 20 should be sufficient. Okay, so let's stop. How do I get out of the Google Hangout? Stop sharing.
Just hang up. Is there a hang up button?
Okay. Sometimes just rebooting the router is going to be sufficient. Okay. But they not just rebooting, they got to reboot the router. Okay, let's do a time check.
50 minutes, 55 minutes.
50. How long have we been into this?
Let's see, it's 11:40. I think we came in like 5 and 10 minutes out. Right, so maybe a half hour in.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe they finish up at noon our time.
Mm-hmm.